We've now been joined this morning by Joey Logano, driver of the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford. Joey, we'll just start with Dover, a track that you have a lot of success at, especially in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Talk a little bit about being here this weekend and then also hoping to go for 5 consecutive wins here tomorrow in the Nationwide Series race. And if you did pull that off, you would tie the record for the most consecutive wins at a track in the Nationwide Series, joining Kyle Busch at Texas Motor Speedway, Dale Earnhardt at Daytona, and Jack Ingram at South Boston.
Well, that's a good group to be involved with, so hopefully we get this win tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see what our Hertz Ford Mustangs got later on here in practice. But no, this has been a great racetrack for me. It's definitely my favorite racetrack, as it should be, I think, with the success that we've had here. And, you know, you can't hear me, so I'm talking to myself. Hello? Yo. Hey. Is that better? Okay, go ahead. All right. No, but like I said, this is one of my favorite tracks. You know, we've had a lot of success here, like we just talked about, and to be in that group of guys that have won 5 races in a row at a racetrack with, you know, Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Busch, and Jack Ingram, that would be definitely an honor to be there. So we'll have to see what our Hertz Ford Mustangs got here in practice in a little bit, and you know, this is definitely, like I said, my favorite track, and it's close to home for me. Growing up in Connecticut, we're not too far down the road from there, so it's kind of a neat place to be able to run well at.
All right, we'll take questions from Joey. Please state your name and affiliation if you have any questions. Okay, let's start with Mike Hembry, and then we'll kind of work our way up to the front.
Mike Hembry, USA Today. Joey, in addition to a lot of success here, you've had one remarkable misadventure here with the big crash you had. When you have a high-speed crash like that at a track like this, do you think about that the next time you're out there, or can you just kind of wipe that away?
I don't think about it, but all you guys make me remember it. So it's funny, every time I come here, it's brought up. And I remember, I think it was a year afterwards, I came here after Dover after a crash, and they had the program. And the program had one of those things when you change the angle of it, it changes the picture. And they had my car in the monster's hand, and it was slamming it into the ground. And I was like, all right, I'm back. So, yeah, it's definitely one of those highlights that's going to always be there for Dover, and I've accepted that, and it doesn't bother me anymore.
All right, we can get microphone. Okay, go ahead.
Kristen Bogosian with NASCAR.com. Joey, good morning. Cale Conley was in here yesterday, and he was discussing how part of his plan in his first nationwide start here at Dover was to forget the experience he had in K&N because the cars are so different. How have you been able to use experience from different series when coming back to the track?
You know, it definitely, if you look at Nationwide to Sprint Cup, there's a big difference there in the way you drive the car here. You know, and this year might be more similar. Seems like everywhere we've gone, the Sprint Cup cars are closer to the Nationwide cars now as far as the downforce level they got, the grip they got, and then horsepower-wise is the same, but you have so much drag that it kind of makes it feel a little bit more like a Nationwide car. So I'd assume that's going to bring them a little bit closer towards each other. But it takes something different in a Nationwide car to go fast than it does in a Cup car, and that's the same thing for Cale. He's coming from an East car to a Nationwide car. That's also a big jump. You're going from a bias ply tire to a radial tire. That's probably the biggest thing here that he's going to see. So you know, it takes experience. It's taken me a while. You know, I kind of was able to figure out fairly quick in a Nationwide car what it took, but it took me a little longer in the Cup car, and I feel like I know what I need. It's just you know, it's always a challenge of getting it there. And obviously Jimmy's really, really good here in a Cup car, and we're hoping to, you know, catch up to him this weekend and be able to pass him.
All right, go ahead.
Joey, Tyler, MRN.com. We're halfway to the chase, and right now 2 wins, comfortable. What's the mindset going forward through the rest of the season right now that we're halfway through the chase?
Well, we just need to keep working hard. There's a lot of teams that are catching us, is what I think. You know, obviously the Team Penske, I think, has been really strong through this first part of the season, first quarter of the season. You look at the 4 car, he's also been up there, and he's definitely probably the strongest car on the racetrack right now, week in and week out, and I feel like we're up there with him. But I feel like he's a little bit ahead of us right now, and we got to keep working hard, make sure we keep this momentum that we have to get into the chase. We're like I said, we're in it. But to have that momentum when we get to Chicago and keep that ball rolling towards the end of the season, because the cars are evolving so much with these new rules. Everyone's starting to catch back up. When you make a big rules change like that, a couple guys hit it, and you're going to see them run well, and then eventually it's all going to tighten back up again, and it's going to be tougher and tougher to have that advantage on anyone. So it's not going to get easier, and we know that. And the importance of every little thing that we do just becomes that much more significant, whether it's what I'm doing on the racetrack, our strategy, our pit stops, all that. It's so difficult to pass, and the field's getting closer. All that becomes more important.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Joey. Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times-Tribune in Pennsylvania. We're about 11 races in. What do you think of the new qualifying format? And as a past pole winner at Pocono, with that coming up next week, how do you think the new format will kind of play out there next week?
I think you'll see similar to where we've been in all these other places. I think you're going to see, cars trying to get clean air. The draft will be definitely a good thing down the straightaway. It'll be the killer in the corner. So you got to weigh out what the pros and cons are there. And if someone gets lucky and gets a draft, maybe right at the end of the lap would be great. Trying to time that out and to plan that is nearly impossible. If you look at the trucks, when the trucks go there, that's going to be all about the draft. They're going to be out there, 3, 4 cars, 5 cars in a pack trying to draft up and make a good lap there, because the on throttle time's so much more than what we have in a cup car there. So that'll be two different things when we go to Pocono. But I think for the most part, you'll see something pretty similar we've seen at all these other racetracks, and just trying to get clean air to get a decent lap in.
What do you think of the format?
I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I think, unfortunately, I've won a lot of segments, but not the right segment. I've only done that once, but I've won like the second and first one quite a bit, and those are frustrating when you win the first segment and then you don't back it up and you qualify third or fourth. But still, we can't be down about our qualifying efforts here in the 22 team, or Team Penske in general. Brad himself too has been qualifying really well, and we've taken to this. This new format pretty well. I think we've had fast race cars, and we've been able to take advantage of that.
Right. Do the microphone? Yeah, we have 2 more in that same. Right. We'll start with him.
Hey, Joey. Jeff Hood of RacingToday.com. A lot of folks don't realize how severely banked the straightaways are here, which is pretty unique in this sport. Can you kind of talk about the sensation or feeling how banked the straightaways are here, and also how tough is this track to enter pit road under green?
Yeah, both are make them difficult for sure. Even though the straightaways are very banked here, they feel fairly flat compared to what the corners are, especially when you come up out of the hole. Everyone talks about, you kind of launch up out of the corner, when you get onto the straightaway, and the car's really, the wheels fall out of the wheel well, and they droop out quite a bit, and the whole car kind of feels like it's really light there. And then it kind of lands back on the left sides because there is some banking there and trying to hold it up and on the straightaway there. So the banking's a good thing. It helps us race. I think it helps us to keep the cars a little bit more stable, because if we lost all the load from coming out of the hole and had no straightaway banking, it'd be a lot of cars in the fence. Not that this track's not difficult enough as it is, and it's a fun place, but I'm trying to remember what your second part of the question is, and I forgot. What was that?
Getting onto pit road, how tough?
Oh, on the pit road. Yeah, it's tough because you're slowing down right in a groove on entry. Typically, like a Charlotte, Texas, most of those tracks you go to, you can start slowing down halfway through the corner and slow down and make it to pit road. With pit road entry being kind of middle of the straight or of the corner, you got to start lifting basically as soon as you land in the corner, if not a little bit before that. And it makes it dangerous because if there's a guy behind it doesn't know that, you get run over pretty quick because no one's really expecting it at that point. And the groove here is on the bottom, so you're right in the groove. You're slowing down really early, and it's so narrow into the corner. You can move up a little bit in the middle, but on entry, everyone pretty much runs the same lane. And when someone slows down right there in front of you, it's a recipe for disaster. And you see a lot of really close calls during the race when you have green flag pit stops.
All right, Chris, go ahead.
Chris, MikeEdgeScience.com. Joey, you guys are pretty secure in the chase, but Dover's the third race in the chase. Will you guys try anything this weekend to see if you guys can get ahead of the ball game going into the chase here later this year?
Yeah, we try things every time we go to the racetrack to get better. And this race in the fall is so far away from where we are now. It's going to be a lot different, but Dover is a unique racetrack that what you find here that works may not work everywhere else, but when you come back, it'll probably still work. This is one of those places, if you find a setup, it usually kind of lasts for a while, and you're able to kind of fine tune with that, or at least that the direction of where you're thinking of what makes a car go fast, and being able to fine tune that when you come back. That all kind of stays the same, but the cars, like I said, they're evolving so much that when you come here, they're going to be so different again. That the cars will be driving, a different, and you'll probably take a little bit of a different setup. But, I don't think we look at this race any different than we do any other race. Knowing that it's in the chase later on, it does hold some, importance to make sure we figure something out and run well here for the chase if we want to win the championship. But at the same time, we don't really do anything differently than we do every other week. I don't feel like Dover's like Talladega. I don't feel like it's a crapshoot, or a wild card. This is definitely a racetrack that you can make a difference at. As a driver, as a team, we can definitely make up for something. And if you have a bad race in Talladega, this race can be that much more important. To get that win and make sure you get to the next round. Because you could be taken out in Talladega and be in trouble. You know what I mean? So it's definitely it could hold even some more importance than we think. When we come back. So that's why it's important to run well here.
All right. Okay, we'll take one final question for Joey.
Hi, Mary Jo Buchanan, Speedway Media. You were 18 years old, I think, when you had your nationwide debut here. What have you learned? Has anybody mentored you at this track? And, what are you taking away from that young age? Not that you're still not young.
Yeah, I remember my first nationwide start here, and, man, it was interesting. I think I finished 7th or 8th, and I was mad about it. Because I thought we should have ran better than that, and it's just been one of those tracks that I've taken to even kind of right off the bat. But I've had a lot of good teammates over the past that to be able to see what they're doing, kind of study what they like in a race car. And obviously Kyle was my teammate here for a while, and this is a good racetrack for him. So I was able to learn a lot from him and kind of see what he does and what he looks for in a race car. And I'm always looking around and seeing what people do and trying to be a student of the sport any way I can to make myself a better race car driver. And whatever is handed to me or whatever I can see on TV or whatever I can talk to someone and learn, it never changes, because there's always people trying to catch you and there's always people trying to get better. You better be doing that too.